Welcome to Creating Stuff. My name is Jim. As you can see in the shop today, I am back working on the Inferno project again. I have a whole lot of videos of what got this truck to the current situation is right now. I've gotten a lot done. But now I'm at one of the key points of it is it is time to make this engine run. So that's going to be the focus of the video today. And unfortunately, whenever I do my videos, I usually have a plan in my head. There's always a skill or something that I want to share with you, creativity, give you ideas. Unfortunately, this video is a lot of mechanic work. The one thing that is going to be very heavy on, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to show, is this is a Tacoma 3.4 I swapped into a 92 Toyota pickup. And probably the thing most people might be interested in is there's going to be a lot of electrical wiring, because I have to adapt the wiring harness from the 98 Tacoma to the 92 pickup. There's companies out there that sell adapter harnesses that cost a couple $1,000s. I have enough money to spend elsewhere on this truck. I'd rather save the money and do it myself. But the reality of it is there's a lot of detail in that. And if anybody would be interested in that fine detail, please let me know in the comments. If I have enough people leave comments, I may actually do a video and I'll go into very detail on how I connect the wiring harness from the 3.4 V6 to the 92 Toyota pickup. And I hate to say, my superpower that enables me to do this is I know how to read a wiring diagram. So, but anyways, but there's a lot that goes a lot in depth, and I'll be more than happy to share it, but as long as there's the interest to do it. So now, but the plan for this video, tell you the truth, I think I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of time lapses. I think I'm just going to go ahead and just show you a few clips of some stuff I've done here and there, maybe a few tips and tricks. But I mean, in the end, everything I'm doing is right now is just really just basic mechanic work. But unfortunately, this is a pivotal moment in this project truck because I've had this engine and transmission in my possession for over 2 years. It's been in the truck for the last year, just hasn't been running. I've never seen this engine run. Normally, when I buy a used engine, I like to see it run before I buy it. Unfortunately, this was not the case, but I bought it from a very reliable supplier that I trust him. He said it run. There's very few people I trust, but I trust him. But if the engine's no good, then I'll have to get another one. So, the thing, and even if the engine is no good, it's just as simple as pulling it out and putting another one in. All the hard work I'm doing on this, all the hard work I've done on the conversion does not have to be redone. So, but anyways, this is getting really exciting. By the end of this video, I should hear this engine run, and that's going to be a very big step, and I'm getting very excited where this thing will run, and, you know, I can actually put it in gear and move it. I think that's going to be very exciting. That's not going to happen in this video, but you should see it run. So I tell you what, I'm going to quit my yakking. I'm going to get to work, and then I'm going to show you some progress along and see how this video turns out. So I hope you like it, and so, all right, well, let me get to it. All right, I got a couple hours in on Inferno, so I figure I'd give you a little bit of progress report, so to speak, on what I've been working on. I've mainly been working on stuff that's on the underside of the truck, because majority of the work is going to be on the top side. So I figure I'll go ahead and get most of this done, and then I'll put the truck on the ground, flatten the tires, get it nice and low to the ground, make it a little easier to work on. But for now, I've got most of the exhaust system in. Keep in mind, I got no muffler. This is not permanent, because I'm going to cut it off. The muffler is going to probably go here. You can truly see on how much that 3-inch body lift really helps shoehorning all this stuff in here. But I got all the wiring harness drugged down. I got both O2 sensors installed and plugged in. I had to replace the plug on that O2 sensor because it was missing. That was a challenge in itself. I do have, on the other side, I do have everything plugged in, except I have one plug is broken. I have to get a new pigtail for this. This is the output speed sensor of the transmission. Not a big deal. Those are available. I'll go ahead and get one. But the harness is all run down over top of the transmission. It is all looking pretty good. All in all, it's looking pretty good. I do have some plugs that are unused. The Tacoma this came out of was an electronic shift, which this one does not have, so that should not be an issue. Those are indicator lights. I'll probably deal with that at a later date, because I like to, for some odd reason, I like my full drive indicator light to work. I don't need it, but I like it. But that's just me. So, but moving forward, up here, I got the starter in. I got all the starters all hooked up. Of course, there's nothing hooked up on the other end of that harness. And I even got the, hold on a second. And I even got the transmission dipstick tube installed and mounted. So all that's looking pretty good. So I think for now, I think I have most of everything on the underside done for the most part. I got that one plug. Like I said, this is the plug I got to replace. Those are available. Not a big deal. I just got to order one. That won't stop me from starting the truck. The transmission won't work without it. But that's not a big concern right now. So I think, so at this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and drop the truck down, take it off the rack. I'll probably roll it forward, flatten the tires so I can get it nice low to the ground, and start working on stuff on the top side. All right, I thought I was done with everything on the underside, but as I was lowering the truck, I remembered, just dawned on me one thing I got to do. Well, it's handy convenient now, is I need to change the oil pressure sending unit. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm very picky about doing my conversions. I like my gauge cluster to work. The gauge cluster that's in the truck now, I want it to work with an engine that it wasn't designed for. So this is, since some vehicles are equipped with an idiot light and some with a gauge, this truck is equipped with a gauge. So this is a sending unit for a 3-liter V6 out of this year truck. So this is compatible with the gauge cluster in the truck. So I just have to remove the other sending unit, replace it with this one, change the connector on the single wire, and it should work. And the one thing I did before I even put the engine in is basically this is the pigtail that hooks into the engine harness, and basically everything on the engine harness that does not go to the ECM goes to this. So basically these two, this oil pressure sensor and the coolant temperature sensor for the gauge cluster do not go through the ECM. Modern vehicles, they'll use a CAN bus, and they have and basically all the engine information can be sent by CAN bus to the gauge cluster. This truck predates that by a lot. And that's the other side I'm going to do is I also have a coolant temperature sensor that I'm going to replace it. Once again, this is compatible with the dash of this truck. So I'm going to replace this in the one that's in the engine. Now this particular 3.4, this V6, this particular 3.4 actually has two coolant temperature sensors. It has one for the ECM and one for the gauge cluster. So I'm replacing the one for the gauge cluster and leave the one for the engine I'm leaving alone. The one that goes to the ECM, I'm leaving that alone. So when I get to putting this in, I will show you where this goes, just so you don't replace the wrong one. And then once again, I actually, and I've already owned these wires out before I even put the engine in the truck, so I marked them. So basically I just have to find the corresponding wires in the truck that go up to the gauge cluster to connect these wires. So once again, I'm very picky on my conversions. I like my dash, the original dash, I like it to work like it's supposed to. I don't like doing goofy stuff. I mean, I could easily put like the cheesy $50 triple gauge cluster that you see at the auto parts, or at least when I was a kid you drooled over that stuff, but that will work absolutely. But I just don't like the look of it, and I like to keep the truck looking original. So all right, tell you what, let me get back to work. I'll bring you back in a little bit. All right, here is a quick update of Inferno. Basically, you can't see it. It's right down there. I got the temperature sensor switched out, so this should be compatible with the gauge cluster, just like the oil pressure gauge. And I got my heater hoses all plumbed up, hooked up. All that's looking good. So I think I'm pretty good on the back side of the engine. So now I got to move up here to the front. Now that I'm up to the front side of the engine, as you can tell, this bearing flange has to be replaced because it's got a cut-off stud. I've got basically this didn't come on this engine because I needed the one off of here on another engine for another issue. But that all I gotta do is swap that back out. I've got it just around there. Then I gotta put the alternator on. I'm gonna hang the power steering pump on, but I'm not gonna hook it up right now because I'm not hooking hydraulics up. But once I get all that stuff done, then I can go ahead and put the radiator in. So, and the biggest reason I'm putting the radiator in is because I got to hook those transmission lines to something. I'd rather just go ahead and put the radiator in rather than, I can loop those together just to get this thing started. But then, you know, you break them apart, then you get oil over the place. I'd just rather hook it up one time. So, anyways, well, let me get back working. I'll bring you back when I have something for you to see. All right, I'm back with a little bit of an update. I got a little bit done. As you can see over here, I got the power steering pump mounted back on. I did not put a belt on it because I don't have the hydraulics run yet, so I don't want to burn that pump up. Although I have a very elaborate hydraulic system planned for this, but when I initially get this truck moving, I'm just going to hook a pressure return line from the pump down to the box, and I'm going to run it like that until I get to the point where I'm ready to build the new system. So this pump's only temporary. I got the alternator in. I got it wired in. I got all the color codes matched between the 92 pickup and the 98 Tacoma wiring harness. And although I do have rust on all of the pulleys, don't worry, it'll come off quick enough. Worst thing that happens is I might have to adjust my belts a fair amount before the rust comes off, but it'll be just fine. So, and I got the radiator in, the fan's on, radiator's mounted. Once again, this truck has a 3-inch body lift on it, so which actually works very well for doing a lot of this stuff. But unfortunately, when I moved the steering box forward, I couldn't drop the radiator the whole 3 inches. I got about 2 inches out of it. I'm an inch shy, and that's fine. I'm not going to be running a fan shroud for right now. My other Toyota truck, Big Red, that I did the 3/4 swap on, I have not run a fan shroud at all, and it runs just fine. So it has 0 issues overheating. So I'm going to run without a fan shroud, and if I have to put a fan shroud on, it's going to be a custom one, and you'll probably see a good video if I have to. So, and luckily, the radiator is for a 92 Toyota pickup with a V6. If you do the conversion, if you do the swap on like an 85 to 88 pickup, you can just use it's the same radiator. But basically those are V6 years, so you just get the V6 radiator. And I'm using the Tacoma hoses. Upper radiator hose works pretty well. Lower hose, I got to shorten it a little bit. So that's not a big deal. So I'm getting ready, but I'm making some pretty good progress. And another thing, with all the really cool stuff you get to do with an engine conversion, building a custom truck like this, don't forget the essentials. Because I'm getting ready to power the Like I said, just remember, don't forget the essentials. I'm getting ready to power this electrical system up. I have not even energized the electrical system in this truck yet, so I have no idea what shape it is. I need to check the wiring for the starter, so I'm going to be cranking. So I want some oil in this engine when I start cranking it. So I'm just going to go do it now so I don't forget it. So, making really good progress. The next big step I have to do is, as I said, I'm going to power up the electrical system in the truck. The 92 and prior, they had the batteries on the passenger side. Unfortunately, since the air intake for this engine comes this way, this is where the air filter is going to sit. So I have to put the battery over here where the air filter used to go. So so I don't have to do too much modifications, I'm going to leave the relay box on this side of the truck. I'll probably have to move it back to fit the air box in, but this is the wire that goes to the battery positive to supply power to this relay box. And I've already got some wire. I'm going to splice this. I'm going to run it around the back of the firewall and tie it into the battery over here. So that's what I'm going to do for that. And then after that, I get to start doing wiring with this. I get to start doing tying the main harness, the ECM for this, wire all this stuff into the truck, and that's where I start getting really close, where I actually do a first start on this truck, and it's getting exciting. So, but I gotta run out and get a few things, and then also, and this harness will just go right through the factory hole. Harness gets a little bit on the short side, but it's manageable. This flange here, I'm going to cut this off and make a new one that'll actually fit that hole pretty well. I 3D printed one for Big Red, and unfortunately I lost the file, so I got to make it again. But that's all coming here shortly. So, well, tell you what, let me go run and go get some parts, get some more work done, and got to keep on getting it. So let's keep going. I am back, and I got a little bit of progress done to Inferno, and I just want to show you how far I've come, which I got a fair amount done. So first and foremost, I got radiator hoses all installed. Upper one, lower one, I had to shorten the lower one to make it fit. Splice it back together, but that's in there. It fits. If you can see it, I got the transmission cooler lines hooked up. That's all ready to go. And then I even got a battery in it. I've made, I think I've made all my battery connections. Keep in mind, this is all temporary, because I'm more concerned about making this truck run right now than the finished product. Because the finished product, this battery is actually going to be mounted in the back of the truck, because I'd like to move as much weight to the back of the truck as I can. And I'm actually planning on putting 2 batteries in. So this is just the first one. I plan to put an identical one to it. I used to run Optimas a long time ago. I hate to say I just quit running them because they're expensive and I didn't have the money. I've been running just cheap batteries in my old 4Runner, my Big Red Toyota, and everything, and you know what? They work just fine. There's no need to spend a high dollar for the Optimas. So, but the reason I'm going with Optima on this one is I have more mounting options, because I can mount it, since this is a spiral cell, completely sealed. I can mount this any direction I want. I can lay it on its side. So I have more mounting options, and that is the only reason I went with an Optima. So got all the connections made. Can't see them, but I made the connections for the alternator down there. That white wire you see running all the way around there, that's the wire that powers the fuse block. So I will wire loom that up when I get ready to finish this. But for right now, I'm more concerned about making this engine run, and I'm getting closer. So this big mess of everything is getting close. So tell you what, I think I'm going to go see if I go turn the ignition on and see if this truck actually lights up. So I haven't even done it yet. So you're going to experience this with me. So let's see what happens. Oh, I got a buzzer on. That's a plus. That's all right. I got indicator lights. I got a brake warning light, battery light. Wow, she's alive. First time I have ever powered this truck up. And wow, I even got headlights. Not that I'm worried about the headlights right now, but they're on. I got power. Headlights, a tail light. So this looks promising. So high beams work. So wow, this is definitely some progress. All right, now that I got Inferno powered up, that's a milestone to me. That's the very first time I put power to the electrical system in this truck, turn the key with the power, and it's alive. So I got a lot more work I got to do before I can actually turn the key and crank the engine over and actually start. But that is the main goal of this video, is to make Inferno run, and is getting closer by the day. So and now I'm going to point out a few simple things, because there's an age-old saying that is, work smarter, not harder. Well, I want to point out a few things that I've learned over the years that makes things easier. First and foremost, if you hadn't noticed, I actually flattened the tires. Is because that, with the tires fully inflated, that fender was about shoulder height to me. So I dropped it a good 5 to 6 inches. So now it makes it easier where I can actually reach over top of the fender and get in the engine compartment. That's actually a very simple thing to do, is just to flatten the tires. And actually on my silver Dodge, I've even gotten to the point with that truck where I will actually take the front tires off while it's on the rack, lower it down, and I can set the lower ball joints on the ground, and then put the weight, then keep putting weight and put weight back on the suspension, and then the hood of that my Dodge is like really low to the ground, and it's really easy to get over it. So you have to sometimes you have to think like that. And then here's the other one. If you notice it in the background, is I took this door off, took the seat out, basically because all this wiring, the ECM and everything, I have a lot of wiring that's going to go on right here. So I went ahead and took the door. Take the door off. It's just so much easier. You don't have to wrestle with it. You don't have to squeeze in there. I take the seat out. I cut the carpet out. Carpet's coming out anyways. I don't know if I'm going to lie next to the floor or whatever, that's like way down the road. I'm not even worried about that. So, but once again, I'm going to be doing a lot of splicing and working with a lot of wires in this, right in the passenger side kick panel. So once again, because I flattened the tires, took the door off, and took the seat out, makes it a lot easier to get in there. So, like I said, those are just some tips and tricks for making your life easier. Because you know what, you don't get a medal for doing it the hard way. So anyways, good tips and tricks for you on that. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get back to work, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to set the camera up on a tripod or somewhere inside the cab of this truck. I'm going to do a time lapse, not for all the wiring, but maybe it'll give you just an idea of how time consuming this is. And that's the other thing when it comes to the wiring. You got to take your time. Make sure you have good splices, good connections. Take your time. And another thing, as I said in the beginning of the video, which I'll sound like a broken record, is if you, any part of this video, that if you want more detail on how I do it, please put it in the comments, ask me to do it. If I get enough people to ask me, I'll probably do a video. I'll be more than happy to do a video. And I'm willing to bet money. Doing the electrical for this is probably a big one. Like I said, if people ask for it, I will do it. I don't know how I'll do the best I can, but reality of it is, wiring is like I said, so just take your time, do good splices. Well, I'm gonna quit my yakking and let me get to work. So well, get ready for a time lapse. Let's get to it. All right, I tried to do a time lapse. I'll probably show you a short little clip of it, but in all honesty, when I'm going around wiring diagrams and chasing wires out, that's really kind of boring in a time lapse. So, but here's the bird nest I got, which all this will get cleaned up when I go to finalize everything, but I have to get everything to work first. So there's no point in cleaning this up until everything works. So I have done quite a lot. So let me take you over to the other side of the truck and I'll show you. All right, I'm sitting over here in the driver's seat, and ignition key. All right, it powers up. A good indicator, if this is a very good diagnostic tool, for the sheer fact the check engine light came on, that means that the ECM is powered up, and I'm going to show you another way to verify that. So I have hooked my my oil pressure gauge and my temperature gauge. I hooked those up. I did, and I even got the engine to. I got the starter hooked up to the ignition. So I'm getting pretty far along. I'm about ready to put some gas in this and to see if it'll start. So, and but I have the oil pressure sending unit does work because I did crank it for more 30 seconds or so, and it did build up oil pressure. So and I will say, here's another view of my bird's nest. For some odd reason, I don't know why, but my wiring, I was having issues with color codes and wiring diagrams. I don't know why. I'm still working that out. I still have to hook up the trigger for the fuel pump. So when I go to see if this will run, I'm actually going to jumper the fuel pump so it's going to run all the time. So not there completely. And then down here, I've put in my OBD2 plug, which since I'm not building a production model, this is my truck, I put it in a convenient spot rather than stuffing it under the dash where you can't get to it. And here I'm going to show you another test that shows that the ECM is powered up, is because I plugged my scan tool in. So this is just a cheap $20 scan tool I got off Amazon. I'm going to select it, OBD2. Boom, right there. That's just showing that I don't have things plugged in, but that is going to show you that the ECM is powered up. If it was powered up, I would not get any data out of this. And then the other thing I did was basically, which is very promising, I feel very confident that this thing is going to run, is basically the RPM. When I was cranking it, I was showing 200 RPM there. So that means the crank position sensor is working. So I feel very confident that this engine is going to run once I get some fuel to it. So, tell you what, let me go ahead and put some fuel in it, make sure I don't have any leaks in the fuel system, and we'll see if this thing runs. No leaks so far. Well, I ended up having more leaks in my fuel system than I wanted to. Actually, one of them I was almost losing my mind over. It was, I've never had that much trouble getting a fitting to seal. Anyways, got it sealed up. Got a lot of gas in here. And as if you watch some of my other videos, to go along with the smell of gas, public service announcement. When you're doing a first startup on something like this, make sure you have fire extinguisher around. So I'm ready to see if this thing will even start. So let's see what happens. This is a true, honest first start. I have not tried to start this yet. Well, would you look at that? Wow, that is incredible. So I'll tell you what, let me put a splash of transmission fluid in this. I'm going to end up running a little bit more. So I'll bring you back in a little bit. I'm excited. All right, after the last clip where I got Inferno for a first start to actually run, that was one of those great emotional highs, followed by an immediate crash thereafter. I ended up having issues with it, but now, after a lot of hard work, I finally got it all sorted out. I'm going to show you what I got going on. And first and foremost is I had codes I could not get to clear, and I could not get the engine to throttle up. And turns out I had a bad section of harness going to the airflow meter. So, and anyways, so that was just simple, regular mechanic diagnosing. There's nothing special going on about that. It just sucks that it had a bad section of harness, but had a lot of chafed wires in there. Those wires were actually broken. But probably, and then here is the big conundrum. Is I actually had a relatively big issue with this, and that is, how do I say that? Two of the wires were not where I was expecting them to be, because every one of the other one of these that I've done, those wires were in a certain plug. They were not there on this one. So, anyways, I had to go down to the very basics, and I had to sort it out. And to be honest with you, the books I was using, I'm just using regular Chilton's manual. But for some odd reason, these wiring diagrams did not match up with the harness I had. So the reality of it is, I got a plug here for a company, and I'm not supported by them whatsoever, but they bailed me out. Is basically it is the All Data DIY, because I used them to get a set of wiring diagrams that the wire codes and everything actually matched this. So I don't know what the other book was. I haven't had an issue with those books before. I have them with this one, is what it is. So anyways, so that's a big shout out to All Data DIY. They really came through, because unfortunately, if these did not match, my next step was I was going to have to find somebody with access to factory Toyota wiring diagrams, which I believe these are actually probably are the factory diagrams that were sold to All Data. But they actually came through for me. So, and actually here's another quick little thing. The air box I got it for free. It had a hole right there, so I just cut a piece of aluminum, RTV'd it down. Looks ugly, but it won't be seen. I don't care. But I have fixed that because I'm getting ready to put the air filter in. And now, let me show you the end result. So basically, I've got my scan tool hooked up, ignition on, check engine light comes on, I come down to the scan tool, select OBD2, communicates right up, no codes found. Now watch this. Check engine light goes right out. That's great. And I will say, it'll take a while, but anyways, the oil pressure gauge is reading correctly. When I got the engine up to temperature gauge is reading correctly. All right, and check engine light went out. There's no codes while it was running. This is excellent. This is a great leap forward. So now, that mess of wires over there, it's time to clean. It's time to start cleaning those up a little bit. I still have some more wiring to do. I've got switches and indicator lights for the automatic transmission that have to get hooked up. And I still have to make sure everything with the automatic transmission works out well. I mean, I still got a lot of wiring work to do. So tell you what, I'm gonna stop talking to you guys, and I'm gonna get back to work so I can get something done. So I'll show you what I got going on here a little bit. All right, well, I have cleaned the wiring up a little bit, and also another word of wisdom anyone wants to decide to do this themselves is whenever you clean your wiring up, basically, if you have jumper wires and everything all in a bird's nest and everything works, every time you do a wire or two, cleaning up, getting the routing, fire it up, make sure it works so you're not chasing, so you know exactly what you messed with. So, but this is what it looks like. It doesn't look like I cleaned it up much, but I did a lot. I'm not done tidying it up because I still have to do, I have to get the speedometer to work. I've got other functions I still have to chase out. So this is clean, it still works. So that's gonna more or less be, so that's how that's gonna be. And but if you want an indicator of what this was like, look at my workbench. Nothing but wiring diagrams and all kinds of other stuff. And the most important thing is I got to have a Diet Coke within arm's reach in order to get it done. That's just my drink of choice. So, but I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff off camera. Like I said, I still have to make the speedometer work. I've got stuff I got to hook up for the transmission. Like I said, I got a fair amount to do, but you know what? I'm going to do most of that off camera, but I'll give you an update at the beginning of the next one, which when I bring you back for the next one, hopefully I should have the hood back on. Although I have a lot more work to do under there, I think I should be slowing down on, I've got the bulk underneath the hood right down. I still got more to do, just not right now. And I'll probably end up putting the passenger door back on. But in the next video, I got to make sure this transmission works, which I did put it in reverse and drive. And the output shaft did turn either way. So the base hydraulics, I don't know if the electronics are working, but I need a drive shaft before I can do any more. So all the stuff I do off camera, I will show you on the next video when I get the rear drive shaft built. So but if you like the video and you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, please, so you can follow along. You don't miss any videos. If you like it, please share it with your friends. But I'm going to call this good for now, and I will see you on the next video. Be creative.